Hello, Viviana. Can you hear me by any chance? I've had issues with my new microphone. Hello, Cheyenne. Are you all able to hear me by any chance? I know there's a delay on what I say and when you all hear it, but you could let me know if my mic's working. That would be excellent. Awesome. How is everyone? We're gonna go ahead and wait a little bit longer for everyone else to get here. See, I wonder how many more people are gonna join. I know it's a bit of an odd time, but most people said, look, any time works, so kind of picked a time in the evening where I figured people would be done with their chores, or anyone who has to, babysit while parents are at work. Figured that this would be about the time that things wind down during the day. Wait just a few more minutes. I don't want to take up any more of your time than I have to. And to be honest, I don't really know how I'm going to convey this information. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it. Hello, Angelina. How are you doing? Could be a lot, but yeah, I hear you. Same. I could be a lot better as well. I feel like I am going stir crazy, and I'm about ready to jump out the window in some ways. It's like I want to be outside. And I want to be back at work and not, stuck in my home office all day. Are we all bored as heck at home, or are you enjoying all the free time, or all the time away from school? Yeah. I miss school as well. And it figures, out of all years where, we miss an entire quarter of the year, it just has to be this one. It couldn't have happened 4 years ago. I'm just kidding. Okay, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're a little bit past the start time. Hey, Matthias, how you doing? I don't want to... I don't want to take up any more of your time than I already have to. So let's go ahead and... can we all see the the email here on the screen. This is from Miss Cordero. And, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to copy this. And then so I can blow it up, I'll create a document. Don't yell at me, Microsoft. There we go. Okay, so here's the deal. So this is something that we have kind of talked about together in the past. I've said that you, as algebra students, will have the choice or the option as to whether or not you accept your grades for 8th grade algebra as your high school credit. Okay, and what that means is, if you have signed up for geometry, okay, if you want to continue through with geometry, you know, and take geometry your freshman year, you need to accept the algebra credit for this year. Okay, and the grades that you earned this year will go on your high school transcript. Okay. Hello, Evangeline. Welcome, welcome. So, under normal circumstances, I cover all of the major topics in algebra in order for students to continue on a gifted or accelerated math track. Okay? Now, there is nobody in this chat, okay, or in my algebra classes who should be worried about geometry next year. Okay, a lot of the algebraic topics that show up in geometry, we've already hit those. And by the time we are done with, you know, this extended learning for this 9 weeks, you guys will have a little bit of a head start in geometry. What I'm worried about, though, is how you all would perform the year after in Algebra 2. Okay, because, and this is partly a problem created by the school system. It's something that we call the algebra sandwich. Okay, where, you know, if you think of the way most people following Common Core learn math, they have Algebra 1, and then they have Geometry, and then they have Algebra 2. Okay, which is kind of stupid. It should be Algebra 1, and then Algebra 2, and then Geometry. So that you don't, you know, have a year of geometry to forget a lot of the things you learned in Algebra 1. Now, a lot of you are really strong in the areas of Algebra 1 that will make an appearance in Algebra 2 at the start of the year. Okay, like systems of linear equations. Okay, you guys did amazing. Okay, using the box method or the foiling method to, you know, multiply binomials, polynomials, and monomials, and all that good stuff. But what worries me is the fact that this happened during the quarter where I go over the main topic of algebra, which is quadratics. Okay, where we learn to graph parabolas, we learn how to solve for the x-intercepts, the y-intercepts, and the vertex of a parabola. The fact that we have not gone over that, and it's not something that I'm comfortable teaching entirely online, because it's one of those topics where no matter how refined my notes are, no matter how many examples we go over, there are always a million questions. And that's fine when we're able to, you know, have a normal class in an actual classroom, and I'm there in the room with you guys, and I can answer your questions using my voice, because, I mean, the answers are quite long, and they would not, I don't think typing a really long answer would make a whole lot of sense. And honestly, one of your best, tools to use during, the unit on quadratics would be your friends and your classmates. Okay, because from my experience, whenever I cover something, everyone kind of picks up and masters, a piece of the overall puzzle, and then, by me answering questions, and you guys asking each other questions and doing your con, it's a bit chaotic, but we all together would put the pieces together, and then eventually most people learn quadratics at a pretty high level, especially for 8th graders. Now again, the fact that we are not going to be able to do that is worrisome to me. Okay? Because if you take geometry next year and you continue the gifted math path in high school, that means you would take Honors Algebra 2 your sophomore year, okay, which is the first half of the school year, so everything between August to December is Algebra 2, and then the spring semester, everything between January and May, is trigonometry. So it's like 2 math classes combined together into one. And I've had students come back to me and talk to me about how fast-paced that first semester is when you do all of Algebra 2 in one semester. They come back and they're like, "Mister, it is insane how fast we move." And it's because those teachers really do count on the students in that class, being, really strong in everything covered in Algebra 1, okay, especially quadratics. So, if you look at the document that's on the screen here, okay, I'm going to send all of you a form. Okay, I'm going to email it to all of you guys as students, and then I'm going to email it to all of your parents/guardians. Okay? And here's where the decision that you have to make, this is the decision. If you choose to take the credits, meaning you are going to accept the grades that you've received this year. Hello, Ashley. If you decide to accept the grades that you've received this year, okay, as your 9th grade, math credit, then you don't need to fill out the form, and you will take geometry next year. If you are not comfortable, okay, with the idea of moving forward on an honors or gifted math path, you will need to fill out the form that I'm going to send you. Okay? If you choose to fill out the form, you cannot take geometry next year. Oh my god, Angel. Or not Angel, it's a Braun. Well, thankfully, the usernames are not visible in the in the video itself. I'm sorry. Okay, now I forgot what I was saying because of your username. game. It's completely thrown me off. Okay. So Matthias, okay, if we are doing geometry, are they accepting third or fourth quarter grades? Okay. So here's how it works. The third and fourth quarter, okay, as you know, I've highlighted right here, it's not going to be, you know, a letter grade. It's just going to be a pass or fail. Okay, so you would get your, you know, whatever letter grade you received for quarters 1 and 2, but not for quarters, well, I guess for quarter 3 you would get your letter grade because we did actually finish quarter 3, but quarter 4 would just be a pass or fail. And then the semester grade overall would also be a pass-fail. Now, I'm going to say a couple of things, okay, because it's not all doom and gloom. Okay? If you decide to, you know, not accept the grades that you've received, you know, throughout this year, okay, if you choose to opt out, okay, of the credit, you can still take Honors Algebra 1 next year. And Honors Algebra 1 carries with it, you know, very similar benefits. Okay, you still get the GPA boost for it being an honors class. You are still, you know, for the most part, going to be in a class full of students who are, you know, for the most part, as motivated, you know, and focused on their education as you are. And you're still on that fast track for math. Can you take honors geometry? You can. You can take honors geometry. Okay. So let me do this. Let me kind of draw it out for you guys, because the benefits, I mean, so like there's a couple different benefits, like of each. What would I recommend? Let me go over the actually, let me go over the different pathways that you can take. So 9th, 10th. So 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. There we go. Okay. So here's the benefit in the past for students who take Algebra 1 in 8th grade. Okay, if you do really well in 8th grade algebra, in 9th grade you end up taking geometry, right? So geometry. Okay, and then 10th grade is honors algebra 2 / trig. And then 11th grade, it depends. For some of you, it could be pre-calculus. Or you could, I've had a couple students who've come back and told me that they've made it all the way to honors, or no, AP Calc. So advanced placement calc. And then something crazy, like some highly advanced, like more advanced than AP Calculus. So something crazy for their math class for 12th grade. So what's over here in pink is the math path for people who take Algebra 1 in 8th grade. And they accept the credit. For those who don't, I'll type up in green what it usually looks like. So honors algebra. Okay. Honors geometry. And then for 11th grade, that's when they do this. Okay, so it pushes everything back a year. Okay, and then one of these two things here for 12th grade. Okay, so really the main difference is people who accept the credit for algebra, you know, they usually finish by 11th grade, what people who do not accept the credit finish by 12th grade. Okay. What happens if you are doing your bilingual seal? So, I'm going to be honest, I don't really know what the difference is math path-wise. I'm going to imagine, though, that it's not anything, you know, radically different. Okay, you'll just have, you know, some of your classes, you know, will be instructed entirely in Spanish. Okay, now, so Ashley asked, what do I recommend? So this is where it is up to you, okay? And I need you to think about, and, you know, when I ask this question, I know it's a bit of a loaded question, okay? Not many of you have the answers right now. But you need to ask yourself, what do I see myself doing for a living? Or what do I want to study? Okay, for those of you who are heading to a university after you graduate, what are you planning on studying? If it is something that is very math intensive, okay, like, you know, engineering, computer science, architecture, chemistry, any of the sciences basically, then I would say that you are probably going to want to consider this option here that I've just highlighted. Okay. I'm dumb. Hold on. I'm dumb. Okay. Hold on. Let's take a step back. So Matthias, you are going into nursing? Okay. So nursing is very, you know, academically intensive, but you don't really need, as far as I know, you don't really need to have, you know, I don't think you would necessarily have a head start towards your degree if you ended on, you know, some kind of crazy 12th grade math. Okay, like, I'm talking about, like, people who are taking Calc 2, which is normally a college course. They're taking that 12th grade because of that head start that they have. But again, I don't know enough about the nursing program to make that, or to, you know, to say with absolute certainty. So what I might do, though, is I might, if you know where you're going for high school, I might email one of the counselors and ask them for their advice. Okay, because they would know that better than I would. Okay, so again, if you are going into something very math heavy, I would consider going through the path that I've highlighted in yellow. Okay, which would mean, and the pathway in yellow means that you accept the credits. you accept the credit. If you are going into something that is, if you want to study something that is not, math intensive, then I would not follow this pathway highlighted in yellow. Okay? And here's the reason why. And this is something that you probably will not hear from a lot of teachers, but I'm going to be straight with you guys. Unless you are dead set on being valedictorian, and there's nothing wrong with being valedictorian. It's a great honor. It's a lot of work. And there is not a single person in this chat right now, who couldn't make it that far. Okay, each and every one of you is absolutely brilliant. In fact, I'd say that, those of you who are in this chat, you're some of the brightest kids I've ever worked with. Like, no joke. But there are some students who take on too many advanced classes. And their overall GPA ends up, suffering because of it. If you are hoping to be, an author, like if you want to write for a living, or if you want to design web pages, if you want to, do something that doesn't require calculus, you should not. I don't think you should be devoting your time to, AP math, your junior and senior year. It would be much better for you to devote, that time to something like AP Language Arts or AP History, where you spend a lot of time, writing essays, and you learn how to, analyze primary and secondary sources, and you learn to form, a well thought out opinion. Okay, those are things that are very important when it comes to writing. Okay. So Ashley asks, how many advanced classes do you recommend taking? And again, that is something that only you can answer. Because some of you could take, advanced everything and be fine. Some of you could take advanced everything, be successful, but you would be so stressed all the time that it would make your 4 years of high school miserable. And then other students could take, all advanced classes, but instead of getting, really high grades, maybe they take one too many, and they end up getting a couple C's here and there. Whereas if instead of taking, honors Algebra 2 and Trig, if they had just taken regular Algebra 2, they would have maybe gotten all A's and B's across the board because, of that little bit of an easier time and a little bit less workload from taking regular Algebra 2. So it's something that's definitely worth thinking about, and unfortunately it's not something where I can give you an answer that applies to everyone. Okay, nobody knows what you can handle better than you. Okay, as your teacher, I kind of have an idea, but the other thing is you guys are going to change over the next few years, and you might also want to think about what extracurricular activities do you plan on doing in high school. Are you going to play football, softball, basketball, volleyball? Are you going to join, mock trial? Are you going to be in band? Because all of those extracurricular activities, they take a lot of time. But they're also really important. When I think about geez, how long has it been? It's been 13 years since I graduated high school. When I think back on those 4 years, I don't remember I think, the advanced classes helped, but what I look back on with fondness, and what comes to mind first is, all the fun things I did. I remember, being a band nerd. I remember, being in mock trial. I remember the 1 year that I spent in yearbook. Your extracurricular activities are just as important as your grades. Okay? And, the studies show the more involved you are in school clubs and programs, the better student you're going to be. And I feel that a lot of teachers, they kind of tell you that you need to take advanced everything, and you don't. Okay, take the advanced classes that have to do with what you want to study when you go to a university. Okay, because if you want to major in English, or if you want to be a translator and you're going to, study foreign languages, your honors algebra and honors trig and pre-calc and AP calc really aren't going to help you that much. Okay? Now, the other thing that I will say is this. I think the worst thing a student can do from a math standpoint is move on from algebra before they are ready. Now, what does that mean to be ready? Well, if you have struggled with a lot of the content that we've covered this year, okay, and by struggled, I mean you have spent a lot of this year feeling like, you've been lost. Okay, the content doesn't make sense. And, maybe somebody who's sitting around you is the reason that you haven't failed. If that is you, I would recommend opting out of the credit and taking algebra again next year. Okay, so this is the pathway for opting out. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do now. Okay, we've talked about this quite a bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post a link to a Google Meet so that we can talk together about, different options, and I can answer questions that you have without this delay. Okay, so give me just a sec. I'll post the link here in the chat. And I'll keep recording it so that, I can post it along with the rest of the stream. Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on. Okay, here's what I'm going to do, folks. I'm going to actually end the stream now, but that same post on Google Classroom, where I posted the link, I'll post the link to our Google Meet. Okay? So if you have questions, or if you think someone might come up with something that would be helpful to you, or if you just want to, discuss whatever, together for a bit, go ahead and follow the link. But just very quickly, in summary, what we've talked about is I'm going to send a form to you guys that will ask you, do you want to accept your algebra credit or not? If you want to accept it, do not fill it out. Just ignore it. If you do want to opt out and take honors algebra next year, you need to fill it out. Or your parent or guardian needs to fill it out. And then we will set up a date for you guys to drop it off. Okay? Or you can email it to the school. But I'll give you more information. Okay? Alright, I'm going to end the stream. And then I'll see you guys in just a sec on the Google Meet.